Imagine waking up tomorrow and oxygen is gone. Not reduced. Not polluted. Completely disappeared. Oxygen makes up about 21% of Earth's atmosphere. We breathe it every second without thinking. It fuels our cells, keeps our brain alive, and powers almost every complex form of life. But what if suddenly all oxygen vanished? The first thing to understand is this: you wouldn't instantly explode or burn. The air would still be there, mostly nitrogen. But without oxygen, your body would immediately be in trouble. Within seconds, your lungs would inhale nothing useful. Your bloodstream would stop receiving oxygen. Brain cells are extremely sensitive to oxygen. Deprivation. In about 10 seconds, most people would lose consciousness. Not because the air disappeared, but because the body can function without oxygen at the cellular level. Within 3 minutes, irreversible brain damage begins. After about 5 minutes, survival becomes extremely unlikely for most people without medical intervention. But humans are only one part of the story. Every animal on land and in the oceans that relies on oxygen would begin suffocating. Fish extract dissolved oxygen from water, and that dissolved oxygen would also be gone. Marine ecosystems would collapse rapidly. Now let's talk about fire. Fire needs oxygen, so instantly. All open flames would go out. Candles, stoves, wildfires, extinguished in a second. Internal combustion engines would shut down. Cars would stall. Airplanes relying on jet engines would lose power. Power plants that depend on combustion would fail. Large parts of the electrical grid would collapse. But here's where it gets even more dramatic. Oxygen isn't just in the air. It's chemically bound in many materials around us. Water, for example, is HEO to hydrogen atoms bonded to one oxygen atom. If oxygen somehow disappeared entirely, even from compounds, water would cease to exist. Oceans would evaporate into hydrogen gas and free atoms. Life as we know it would end instantly. However, let's assume only atmospheric oxygen disappears. There would be an immediate drop in air pressure because 21% of the atmosphere is suddenly gone. The pressure change could cause eardrum rupture for many people. Structures designed for current atmospheric pressure would experience stress windows could shatter in some places. Another major consequence involves the ozone layer. Ozone is made of 3 oxygen atoms. It protects Earth from harmful ultraviolet radiation from the sun. Without oxygen, ozone cannot exist. That means intense UV radiation would flood the surface within hours. Severe sunburns and radiation damage would occur. Plants would struggle to survive. Crops would fail quickly. Speaking of plants, photosynthesis requires carbon dioxide and sunlight to produce oxygen. If oxygen vanished but plants remained, they would continue producing oxygen slowly over time. However, without animal life to balance the carbon cycle, ecosystems would be thrown into chaos. There's also something surprising about the ground beneath. Your feet. The Earth's crust is about 45% oxygen by mass, but it's locked in rocks and minerals like silicon dioxide. If oxygen disappeared from these compounds, the planet's crust would fundamentally change. Rocks would weaken or break apart. Concrete, which contains oxygen-rich compounds, would crumble. Infrastructure worldwide would fail. And here's something people rarely consider. Without oxygen, the sky itself would look different. The blue color of the sky comes from light scattering by atmospheric molecules, mainly nitrogen and oxygen. With oxygen gone, the scattering pattern changes, and the sky would likely appear darker. Temperature would also shift. Oxygen plays a role in atmospheric chemistry that helps regulate climate. The balance of greenhouse gases would be disrupted. Long-term, Earth could become far colder or unstable in unpredictable ways. In short, oxygen isn't just something we breathe. It stabilizes our atmosphere. It supports combustion. It protects us from radiation. It maintains pressure. It shapes chemistry. It supports ecosystems. It literally holds together the systems that allow complex life to exist. Without oxygen, Earth wouldn't just be uncomfortable. It would be unrecognizable. The scary part, we rarely think about it because oxygen is invisible, silent, and constant. It doesn't demand attention, yet every second of your life depends on it. Take a breath right now. That simple act connects you to forests, oceans, microscopic plankton, and billions of years of planetary evolution. Oxygen isn't just in the air. It's the reason we're here. And without it, even for a short time, the world would never be the same.